Hello and welcome to today's video. This time we're having a look through another couple of boxes of my more modern hardback first editions, and almost exclusively this time round it's the author Andrea Camilleri. So sit back, relax, and let's take a look. Okay then, so first of all, apologies for the delay. I have had an incredibly busy week, and unfortunately yesterday when I was all due to film the video to go out later that day, I got tied up at the Matford Toy Fair a little bit longer than I was expecting, and consequently I just ran out of time. However, on my main channel now, I have decided to lower my output to 2 videos a week going forward. So because of that, I will have 2 videos over there and my regular cleaning video here, and I should be able to manage a little bit better than what I have been. So yeah, apologies for that, but hopefully normal service will be resumed as of next week, and I'm going to be targeting some pelicans I think next week, which we haven't done for ages, so some vintage penguin pelican books. So this time round then, well, if you remember the last one we did, it included the Andrea Camilleri proof copies, which were in paperback, and then it moved on to the very first copy in the hardback series. So they haven't got that familiar design yet. These are still well being published as like just regular Italian crime novels. However, it won't be very long, just a couple more books, and then we'll be into the realm of the familiar jackets that we are, well, that sort of trademarked the series really. Now, some of these I've had, in fact, I would say most of them I bought as they were coming out, but I didn't actually start collecting Camilleri until maybe about book 5 had been published. So I wasn't there straight at the start. So like this one, for example, I do believe was bought from eBay possibly. And one of the reasons I'm doing this is I wanted to give them all the once over, because I know towards the end, now that unfortunately Camilleri has passed away, there won't be any more Camilleri books. They've now all been published. And I would like to complete the first British editions if I could. But some of them, like this for example, I do always remember the snack figure being, this one being quite tough to track down. It's got a little bit of rippling there. I'm not 100% happy with that. I might end up popping that onto an upgrade list. I have got the omnibus on the upgrade list, but that one doesn't seem to turn up very often. And I believe the omnibus, which is the one that I've got in low grade, is it's just like all the Camilleri short stories pulled together. So this is the first one, which is in that really familiar format, which is like, I don't know, it just reeks of Sicily, doesn't it? Or Italy and Sicily. Absolutely beautiful. I'm pretty sure we're looking at these in published order as well. These are how I had them shelved in my collection room. So, God, very dusty this. So as I said, I'm pretty sure these are being viewed in order. I never got any signed by him. I've heard interviews with him. I don't think he ever came to Britain, at least not, because he didn't really even start writing these books till he was quite elderly to begin with. And then they were massive successes. Of course, there was the TV series, wasn't there, as well? But yeah, I would have loved to have actually met him. I don't know if he spoke English. The interviews I've seen with him, he just speaks normal Italian, and it's translated. But he a great author, and if you've never read these books, I really do recommend them. The main character, Inspector Montalbano, is very, very likeable, and you do get a real taste of the region, if that makes sense, you know. So it really feels like you're in Sicily when you're reading them, and you know the places, the food that they eat, that sort of stuff. It's you can really lose yourself in it. Which is Excursion to Tindari, and it's funny, even now I sort of remember the stories of these, you know. So I haven't read them all because I knew there wasn't going to be that many more. Like a few authors that like Patrick O'Brien, for example. Camilleri is no different. I try and just read one a year, so that I've got new ones for ages to come. See, that's got a bit of foxing on the top there. Not enough for me to warrant to say, oh, I must replace it, but interesting all the same, you know. Can't remember. I remember getting some off the Pam Millen rep. She had some, and I said, oh yeah, well, I'm collecting those, I wouldn't mind them. I think I had about 5 off her, which was pretty cool, back in the day, you know. But they do really come together and make a fantastic series. So I do enjoy, or have enjoyed collecting these, but mainly as they were coming out. I think by now, by this point, I was on board and I was buying all of them as they were being released, pretty much. We were always behind in the UK. We were behind what was coming out in Italy, of course. And I think we were about a year behind what was being published in America. But I can't tell for sure. But these British ones, I think they're really, really distinctive. And these are the ones I've always had. You know, this one looks clean. It's really just, these are not that old. They're only, when's this? This is book 5. This is book 6. And this is dated 2007 in this hardback edition. So not that old, only 15 years. So, or 16 years, I should say. So not too bad, but yeah, bought from brand new and then, you know, kept as good as I can keep it. This is obviously the first time they've ever had a bit of a clean. They sat on the shelf, and I do run the Hoover over my shelves, but it doesn't really get into the grooves. You couldn't do that with it. The only way to get them really clean is to do what we're doing here, and that's giving them the brush. Now this one, actually, I spotted this when I pulled it off the shelf. Well, that's the first time we see the books in order, which is quite good. This one's actually got a fingerprint on the bottom, so we'll just have a flick through. And then I'll brush the edges and see if that fingerprint lifts off or not. It may just be dust. Actually, it was. Yeah, it wasn't actually too bad. Let's give that a bit more intense rub. Yeah, look at that. It's almost gone. It must have just been a dust print or something like that. Yeah, that's pretty much gone, hasn't it? Oh, that's okay. Well, that's a disaster averted. I said I do have one at the end which is rotten, but I've not got rid of it because I'll use it because it's such a big one. It's like an omnibus. It'll be the copy that I read when I get that far into the series, you know. So I'll pop that out of the way over there. Patience of the Spider. So yeah, first of all then, apologies for being late. So it's been a hell of a week, in all honesty, and there's lots of stuff happening this week. Oh, that's dusty. In actual fact, I've got a week off work, which is really nice, but this week is the week where potentially I might be selling a part of my Star Wars collection. It's got a ding on the bottom there, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, potentially the Star Wars collection is going to be off to new home, and consequently there's quite a bit to get involved with that. You know, I've got to get the stuff out, get it all ready for the potential buyer to have a good look at it before they pull the trigger, as it were, you know. It's also a little bit stressful. I do, in a funny sort of way, it does sort of feel like I'm losing a limb. I've had it a long time, you know, since I was a boy, but the time is most definitely right, and I'm happy to let it go on to new collectors now. And as a matter of fact, I've still got quite a bit more which is non-action figure related to get through, you know. So I shall enjoy digging some of the more oddball items out, like toothpastes and things like that, you know. So we'll see. It's not all bad, and it's just one of those things, you know, it's the time is right to move it on. I do need the space, but also, you know, the wife and I are looking to move potentially next year, and not having to move the Star Wars stuff is actually quite appealing, in all honesty, you know. So I think I'll be glad to not have all of that to worry about, because let's be honest, it's not on display, it's just all set in boxes and in storage, and where's the fun of that? I'd much rather give it to somebody, or sell it to somebody who's going to sell it on to other collectors, and they get some pleasure from it and get it out on display. So it's all fine. I will film the collection going out the door if a deal can be reached, which I'm sure it will. August heat. Have a good one, this. But consequently, all these sorts of little things that we've had, plus I was at the Matford Toy Fair yesterday, so that meant I just didn't get back time I'd done that video, because we have to do it on the day of the show, because Andy, the chap I do the audio with, we went to the show together, so we had to come back, quickly edited the video, then get that one uploaded. So consequently I am a little bit behind, so just can't get the staff really, can we? But I'm hoping, I think from now on normal service should very much be resumed. But yeah, old Camilleri, I would have loved to have got a signed one. That would have been great, but I don't think I've ever seen any British editions in signed form at all. I'm sure they're out there. Yeah, they must exist. It's just I don't actually have them myself, you know. I'm just going to change the camera angle slightly. There we are. I'm hoping we can get a bit more of the actual books in now. But you can see why they're attractive, and I believe these are collectible. I mean, I've never looked them up. Only when I was trying to pick up a few of the earlier ones did I bother looking these up online. And I know some of the early ones were quite expensive, but I don't know if they still are. No idea at all. I honestly don't care. I've not bought them for any sort of collectability value. I bought them because I like the books, and ultimately as a collector, if you just buy what you love, if the books end up going up in value, well, that's a bonus. But if not, well, so what? You've still got a collection of books that you actually love. And that's, I sort of give that advice to many people who are sort of thinking about collecting or investing in collectibles. I always sort of say the same thing. Buy what you love, because then even if your investment goes down in value, you're not going to be disappointed. You know, some people take that advice, some people don't. There we are, that's not too bad at all. Because I've had these all from brand new, I've never really thought to like protect the wrappers or anything like that, or bag the books up. I know some collectors do that, and it stops the pages having any signs of age, you know. I mean, I'm careful where I store them. These are actually stored in the office, and that's where we're working our way through. And in actual fact, there's not that many. After these, we've probably got another video of more modern authors, and then we're on to biographies and autobiographies, and then we're just about done on the hardbacks, pretty much. So it'll all be paperback related going forward then. But it's been good to get that room done. There he is. It's good to get that room done. Oh, look, he lives in France. I always thought he was living in Italy, but there you go. Yeah, before we move house, because at that point, alas, we're going to need to get the most of the book collection boxed up. And I will have access to it, of course, and I'll try and keep the videos going as long as possible, but for a while the channel, or even both channels, might have to go on hiatus, but we are talking probably middle of next year, yeah. And I wouldn't have the channels down. I get loads done in advance to keep the videos going. And of course the actual process of doing that themselves, I would film. So it'll all be quite interesting, I would hope. There he is. There's the actor who played Montalbano. Now, I don't know his name off the top of my head, but it's a good series. They were all available on the BBC iPlayer, and they are in Italian language, so you have to, I seem to remember they're not subtitled, they're dubbed, as I recall. Look at that. Interesting binding on that one. But I wasn't envisaging this video to be that long today, simply because the books are, on the whole, really nice nick, you know. I said they've been bought from brand new, and I've done my best to look after them as best I possibly can, you know. But they look so gorgeous when you get a collection of them together, they really do. Treasure hunt. Now, I was just trying to see which one was my next one to read, and I think I've read this one, and I think I've read the next one, and then so in actual fact I'm about halfway through all the ones that ever got written, so that's pretty good. It's nice to know I've got a nice wedge still to come, you know. I do pick up the proofs of these, and you would have seen them in the last video that I did of these books. And the proofs are in softback. I don't think every book even got proofs, but I've got about 6 now, I think 5 or 6. And they're really nice to have as like little additions, you know. Angelica's Smile, yes. I don't remember this one, so I'm sure this is the next one I've got to read, is this one. Yeah, it's perfect. So obviously, towards the end, they were rushing them out quite a bit after he died. So this is, where are we now on this one? 2014, this one now. So these are 9 years old. That's nice. But the fact that they were able to keep the same design to the end, same cover artist, same translator who translated it from the Italian, it gives them all that familiar feel. That really does, and they did very well for doing that, and a bit of marketing genius, really. A lot of the crime authors, they've got their loyal fans, so you know, and they look forward to the new releases. My friend's mum was very much into Donna Leone, which was another Italian writer, I believe. I may be wrong on that, but I remember when I was in the book business, they would always be proofed for some reason. So when the proofs come in, I would always pass it, say, oh yeah, I got a new one for your mum. And she was always really generous, and she was a great woman, and a huge reader. In fact, it was my friend's mum, and they had their own book business, which was a business. They sold business books, but prior to that, my friend's dad was a rep for HarperCollins in the 1970s, based out of Edinburgh, I think it was. Edinburgh or Glasgow. And yeah, he was called Roger, another really nice guy. Blade of Light. But yeah, sadly, apart from the brushing, I didn't think there was going to be any rubbing. There's not going to be any polishing today, except the little brush offs that we've just done, because these are pretty much new. But we're doing these in the order that they were in the collection. As I said, every single book, ultimately, in my possession will be done, and then we'll move on to some other stuff once we're up to date with all the books. So and I might be fairly soon throwing in a few Star Wars merchandise videos, just because we're going to have some of them to clean as well. So here we are. It proudly says the 20th Inspector Montalbano mystery, and I just did a little tot up, and indeed it is the 20th, although book 1 was in the last video. So got this one from the book depository by the look of it. I like using them for new books, you know. They always turn up really nice condition, and you get little things like a little bookmark in there. The books are always supremely well wrapped, and that's what you want if you're a collector. So I do recommend the book depository as a place to buy books competitively. I think there's another one called Wordery, which is another one where I've had good success. They proved to be very reasonably priced, you know. So both of those I recommend. If you want an alternative to Amazon, who are, you know, if a book does turn up damaged on Amazon, you can at least very easily, you know, return it and get a replacement sent out. So from that point of view, they're also very good as well, you know. Nest of Vipers. That's good. There we are. If you wanted to read them all in order, that's the way to do it. This is nice. This has got a nice feel to it, with the orange boards and the yellow end papers. It feels Mediterranean, doesn't it, you know? I've got to say, when I read one of these books, you end up fancying pasta every night. Although he eats a lot of seafood as well, which I'm not so keen on, so it's not all brilliant. But the pasta dishes he comes up with are fantastic, and he's a bit of a cook himself, is Montalbano. The Pyramid of Mud. Yeah, see, these are all new to me. These ones, I don't know what these are about, so I'm sort of dying to get in. But the packaging is just terrific on these. I really like them. But yeah, there shouldn't be anything wrong with them because they've not been read at all. In my office where I store these books, they're on the shelf, and then I've got like tea towels over the top to stop dust getting in on them. So what we're cleaning off today is stuff that happened actually at the time, you know. So you'd think that the earlier ones would be dirtier, or dustier I should say, than the later ones. The Overnight Kidnapper. See that you can sort of feel that there's a little bit of dust on that one. So it may be when I've got these for about 6 months to a year before I've had like a shunting session, the books have ended up just being laid flat, and that may well be what's happened with some of these. Once again, really nice design with the teal colour there, and that works its way into the lime green on the inside. Really, really nicely designed books, these. You can see that a bit of thought has gone into them, if that makes sense. You know, they've not just knocked them out with standard white end papers. And another reason I really like them is because of the actual jackets have got a bit, what they are actual jackets is pieces of artwork. These are unique to the UK. They're not like this around the world. There's different jacket designs in the States and in Italy. So it's good that they actually spend the time to commission a new jacket for each book to keep that uniform look, because so many books these days don't have decent jackets. It's all typography. It's just the titles, you know, it's awful. Absolutely hate that. I think that's one of the reasons why these have got such great charm, is because they are, you know, the publishers have clearly thought about it, you know. The other end of the line, and I'm sure this quality goes up right to the very end, you know. I said I haven't needed to look them up to see sort of how easy or collectible these would be to try and get a set in first edition. I would imagine possibly that the tail end ones potentially might be a bit trickier once the TV craze had been and gone, which it had by the time these were coming out. They might have, you know, the print ones might have reduced a little bit. A lot of these in hardback may have just gone to libraries, you know, I don't know. But certainly worldwide he had his fans, but I don't know if that carried on into the bookshops. I don't think it did. But he definitely was very popular at one point because I used to sell it when I was a bookseller. The safety net, yeah, I remember getting this one. And look at this, see, you'd never know, but this is, the corners have been dumped like that. No, that's really annoying, so I'm going to have to make a note of this, because that's quite a serious defect now. At least the wrapper's alright, but that is clearly damaged. Look at that. That's rounded. That has just landed through the letterbox. And sometimes you can just pinch them and get them straight again, but the cardboard is the cover is so thick. I suppose that's a bit better. I mean, I know you're not going to see it with the dust wrapper on, but when I read these, I always take the dust wrappers off. That's going to be really annoying. 2020, well, I can't imagine it'll be that difficult to find a copy, but that is frustrating. I guess I should have checked it at the time, but some of these I would get bought for me. My sister used to buy me, I would give her a few books to get for me for my birthday and Christmas, because we'd always buy books for each other, and she bought me some of these, but she knew how fussy I was, or am, with condition, so I'm surprised that went through quality control, to be honest, but there you go. The Sicilian method. Sounds like a chess move, doesn't it? The Sicilian defense. You often see online like paperback box sets of the first like 8 or 12 books for very, very cheap. Like, you get them brand new in paperback for just a couple of pounds each. They work out at, and there, if anyone wants to try these, that's where I would direct them to go. The paperbacks keep the same jackets as the hardback, you'll be pleased to hear, so they're equally gorgeous to look at. They're the perfect sort of beach read or pool read, and yeah, I said they come really recommended. They are highly addictive though, because they're not massively long books. You can get through, if you're on holiday, you can get through one in a couple of days, no problem at all. And that's generally what I usually do, although I didn't on my last holiday. Because I've been hanging around with Steve, my friend the outlaw bookseller, a bit too much. I was reading, ended up reading more science fiction than Italian crime, which incidentally is the sort of crime that Steve reads himself. So there you go. I'm not sure if he's read any Camilleri though, I must ask him. But yeah, I think at this point Camilleri himself possibly had passed away by the time this book had been printed, and then they like rushed out the last few, I think, This is 2021. I think he died 21, 22, something like that. We'll just have a little look on the end dust wrapper and see what it says. He died in Rome in July 2019. There we are. So probably died on the last one there. And then there was 2 more. These are the last 2 that he ever wrote. Ricardino. I'm pretty sure there's none left to be found, to the best of my knowledge. This is gorgeous, isn't it? The boards on it, really, really nice. I said these are beautifully produced books. That is why I absolutely love them. You might hear a few drops of rain on the studio roof. The weather's been awful this week, very, very showery and rainy, so there you go. And I think this is the last one, Death at Sea. I think. Let's see what it says. No, I think this one might be actually this is out of position. It doesn't even mention that he's died. This must be out of position, and maybe the Cook of the Halcyon was the last one. When's this? 2018. This book's out of position, so probably when I was loading them into the boxes, so that's okay. But at least you've seen them all. That's the main thing, So I think The Cook of the Halcyon is the last one in the series. If you do fancy, sorry, Ricardino is the last one in the series. Right, now this next one is the one that's in awful condition, but I've kept it. You see, it's Montalban's First Case and Other Stories, and I believe this is some sort of, this wonderful anthology is the first collection of Andrea Camilleri's short stories to be published in the English language. So these are the Montalbano short stories, and I believe they were like published in magazines and things like that. There is the website there, Andrea Camilleri author, on Facebook. And let's just see if we can see where these have come from. Doesn't actually say. It's just got, well, it's got an author's preface. See, I've not read this one. Yeah. But looks, it's a big, huge book. As you can see, it is all horrible and foxed. So I'm going to clean it up anyway, as best I can, because it'll be absolutely fine to read this one. But I am obviously, my other ones are so beautiful on the whole, condition-wise, that I don't want to have this as part of the main collection, but I don't want to get rid of it because I want it to read, you know. So for that reason alone, it's not going anywhere. But it was one that I bought off eBay, and it was one of those ones where, you know, the sorts of sellers, they've got books and they just have a stock photo, and I particularly wanted it in hardback because of the other ones in hardback, but he just wasn't really the thing. But that's the only anthology that I know that they did, and it was all the short stories, which I think Camilleri had written for magazines and things like that over the years. Now, this is the final Camilleri today, but we do have one other book as well, and this is one of his non-Montalbano ones, which once again my sister bought me. She said, "Oh, you like Camilleri? There's a new one out. Do you want it?" I said, "Yeah, I'm happy to try it." I don't think he wrote a lot apart from Montalbano, but there are a few, and this is the only one I've got which isn't a Montalbano one, but I keep it as part of my Camilleri collection, as you can see. When did this one get published then? Hunting Season 2014. So it is what it is. It's absolutely fine. Now you've probably all heard of the Folio Society, which publish beautiful hardback editions of books. Well, I only have one, and this is one that my mum gave me because it used to be hers. It's Tales of the Unexpected by Roald Dahl, and I like the Folio Society, and some of their editions I think, wow, that's really gorgeous. Other times, you know, I'm not too fussed. I think, well, I don't think I'd ever read it like that. But some books really do appeal, Folio Society wise, and this is one that I have ended up keeping. And you'll see why in just a minute. It's a sliding one out. Tales of the Unexpected. So that was 2 books, don't forget. Tales of the Unexpected was originally 2 books, and this has been put into one omnibus. So it's, best part of 760 odd pages. But it's 2 books in one. I do like the Tales of the Unexpected, and it was, the books are great. The TV show was great, if a little dated nowadays. So when did this folio edition come out? It's the second printing from 2002. There you go. Yeah. So this was Kiss Kiss and Over to You and Switch Bitch. So it's actually, then Someone Like You. And then 8 further tales. So I don't know. Maybe this one is unique to the Folio Society, possibly. Yeah. Or maybe. Well, there you go. So, because it's been in a slipcase, it's not actually got any damage at all, any dust rather on it. It's a beautiful edition. It's really heavy, but I don't mind that, and I don't mind Roald Dahl. He's a good author. I loved his kids' books when I was growing up. I mean, I loved them, so I don't really agree with them being changed in modern times, but there you go. Well, look, there we are. We're actually at the end of all the books that I've got for today. That was 2 full comic boxes of hardbacks. As I said, next week, if all goes to plan, I'm going to pull out the next a comic box full of vintage Pelican books, because we need to get back on track cleaning those, because I want to film them for the main channel. But hopefully you've enjoyed looking through those ones today. They are gorgeous books, aren't they? If you have, do please give the video a thumbs up. Do please hit the subscribe button if you've not already for regular vintage cleaning action, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye.